Our next movement is the student revolt counterculture movement. These are children who grew up in the 50s, who grew up in the Levitt towns and the suburbs, the cookie cutter culture of their parents, and they rebelled in the 1960s. They saw their parents as hypocrites. Many of their parents said they were liberal, but they weren't really liberal. And so these kids looked at their world and said, "You're fake, you're a phony, and you're just conforming to the square norms that everybody else um, has said are the way we should be. We're going to rebel against that. We're going to grow our hair out long." I'm currently fitting into this world with my own hair. They experimenting with drugs, marijuana, LSD. They pursue romantic relationships outside of marriage. No, right? So they're violating all the standards that their parents said, or what you should be and do as a good American. Um, they rejected the norms of their social elders. They wanted America to be really more democratic. A land of democracy shouldn't have segregation. It shouldn't have racism. In 1962, some of these rebels formed Students for a Democratic Society and wrote a Port Huron statement of their principles, calling for a more open, participatory, real democracy in the United States. They said the Cold War is a mistake, and the government is essentially lying to us all. On college campuses, they rebelled against the strict rules of colleges. We see this all over, but especially the free speech movement launched in Berkeley in California in 1964 by Mario Savio. They wanted the college to stop censoring radical ideas because during the Cold War, colleges would actively forbid radical speakers from coming to campuses because, they might spread communist ideas. As the Vietnam War grew, many of these college campuses erupted in protest against the Vietnam War, as they said, this is an immoral war. Why are we in Vietnam? They were encouraged to tune in, turn on, and drop out. Became members of the counterculture as they, experimented with drugs and lived in communes, moved to places like Haight-Ashbury and San Francisco. Obviously, the peak of their movement is 1969 with Woodstock, the Summer of Love, and everybody tuning in with the universe and connecting with the vibe of love and humanity. The counterculture tends to decline after this. A lot of it gets commercialized, and then, of course, people are like, that's against the values of the counterculture, and the movement starts to lose steam, as we're going to see in tomorrow's lessons, the rise of a conservative movement.